Here at Hacksmith Industries, we use SolidWorks, the best 3D design software in the business, to make stuff like this, and this, and this. Needless to say, we would not have been able to make it real over the years without the help of their game-changing software. And that's why we're so excited to help announce that SolidWorks is changing the game again, this time for makers, hobbyists, and DIYers everywhere, with a new ultra-affordable offer just for you.
That's right. For the first time ever, we have a version of SolidWorks that's just for makers. And if the opportunity to get SolidWorks design software at a super low price for personal projects wasn't enough, you're also getting
next-gen cloud-based design tools like 3D Creator and 3D Sculptor that run on any device directly from a web browser, so you can make any type of designs from anywhere. The ability to collaborate with other makers and hobbyists like you from anywhere in the world, sharing your ideas, your 3D designs, and your questions and expertise with others who do what you do. Your own storage space on the 3DEXPERIENCE platform with SolidWorks connected directly to it.
So are you ready to make it real? Check out SolidWorks.com to learn even more about what's included and how you can get SolidWorks today. Here at Hacksmith Industries, we use SolidWorks, the best 3D design software in the business, to make stuff like this, and this, and this. Needless to say, we would not have been able to make it real over the years without the help of their game-changing software. And that's why we're so excited to help announce that SolidWorks is changing the game again, this time for makers, hobbyists, and DIYers everywhere, with a new ultra-affordable offer just for you.
That's right. For the first time ever, we have a version of SolidWorks that's just for makers. And if the opportunity to get SolidWorks design software at a super low price for personal projects wasn't enough, you're also getting
next-gen cloud-based design tools like 3D Creator and 3D Sculptor that run on any device directly from a web browser, so you can make any type of designs from anywhere. The ability to collaborate with other makers and hobbyists like you from anywhere in the world, sharing your ideas, your 3D designs, and your questions and expertise with others who do what you do. Your own storage space on the 3DEXPERIENCE platform with SolidWorks connected directly to it.
So are you ready to make it real? Check out solidworks.com to learn even more about what's included and how you can get SolidWorks today.
Joining us today, whether that's Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, or live.solidworks.com. We have a really cool announcement today. And to help me with this announcement, I want to bring on our guest, Sean O'Neill, Strategy and Community Manager here at SolidWorks. Sean, welcome to SolidWorks Live.
Thanks a lot, Jeremy. I second that. I am super amped to be here. I'm currently looking at the chat here. It's so cool to see so many familiar names and faces. And like you said, for this launch, I am just stoked to be here.
Yeah, so if you're joining us, whatever platform you're on, we're monitoring the chat here on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. You'll see me glancing over to the side. I'm trying to watch the questions come in. Looks like we have a bunch of chat on YouTube, a ton on LinkedIn already. I think this is a fairly exciting announcement. Sean, what are we talking about today?
So Jeremy, we are here to talk about 3DEXPERIENCE SolidWorks for makers. Again, I'm super excited to talk about this. So those of you who were able to attend virtually, of course, 3DEXPERIENCE World 2021, you might remember earlier this year that GP during general session mentioned this insane announcement. We were bundling some of our best design tools for makers. So again, just super excited to finally be here later in the year, as GP said earlier this year, to talk about this with you today.
So I think we should start with a question to the chat. Do we have makers out there?
Yeah.
So we're going to throw a poll on YouTube. We're going to ask how you use SolidWorks today. Are you a maker? Are you a hobbyist? Or are you a professional engineer? Or if you want to use SolidWorks as a maker or a hobbyist, throw that in the comments, whatever platform you're on. If you're on YouTube, answer the poll there. Love to see how people are using SolidWorks today, but especially excited to see if we have any makers or hobbyists joining us here this morning.
It's funny too, right? You and I know, and I think, Jeremy, we might be a multi-select ourselves, and I'm sure a lot of people in the audience would be at least one or two of these. So now I'm curious to see how our community kind of primarily considers themselves.
All right. Well, we'll let that poll run for a little bit. But what do we mean when we're talking makers and hobbyists? Do we have some examples?
Yeah, we do. So if you think of, and this is of course, like this general idea of bringing SolidWorks to the maker audience has been wildly popular and in huge demand over the years. But when you think of things like DIY around the house sort of projects, home decor, woodworking, cosplay, and everything sort of in between, these are the sorts of popular use cases that I think the SolidWorks community has already been engaging in. But I think bringing this offer to the sort of general maker and hobbyist community for those sort of personal style projects is something, again, we're just really excited about.
So we have a lot of chat coming in. We have Thomas Chechen on LinkedIn. I've been waiting for this announcement for so long. I see we have some student users in YouTube. But you know what? I think to talk about this announcement, let's go to an actual hobbyist with a YouTube channel. Let's go take a look at Brad from Impact Props and see about how he's excited for 3DEXPERIENCE SolidWorks for makers.
Let's do it.
What's up, guys? My name is Brad, and I run a YouTube channel called Impact Props, where I make awesome things, helmets, replica costumes from your favorite movies, video games, whatever, and then we go do crazy stuff with those characters. But first and foremost, I am a maker, which is why I am so absolutely amped to be talking in front of you today. So I've been using SolidWorks for the past probably 6 years professionally to create and design. SolidWorks is an incredible design software that I love. I wouldn't pick a different one. SolidWorks is my go-to software when designing and creating. But as a maker, the price tag has notoriously been way out of my price range. And I've been asking and asking and begging and begging and begging for SolidWorks to make a version of SolidWorks for makers that is more affordable and would allow people like me to create incredible things using this software. And I'm so excited to be telling you this today because as a maker, SolidWorks has answered our prayers. SolidWorks is the industry standard for 3D modeling, and today, if you're a maker, you can get it for $9.99 a month. Woo!
So really cool to see Brad talk about his enthusiasm, and you may have seen some of the numbers at the end. We're going to get to that as we go through the show today and where to get it, things like that. So let's talk really quick about Brad. We probably should have introduced him before we shot right over to him. So where have we seen him before? I've actually gotten the opportunity to talk with Brad in the past, but for folks who don't know, can we give a shout out to where people can go learn more about Brad?
Yeah, so great point, Jeremy. So you can actually check Brad out at his Impact Props YouTube channel. But, you know, we talked about this idea of multi-selects, right? You know, maybe I'm an engineer and I'm also a maker by night, right? Or I do hobbyist style projects. Brad talked about that back at 3D Experience World 2020 on the main stage, back when we were last in person together. Just kind of talked all about how he's used SolidWorks for years in industry, and it was really excited to be able to use a tool like 3D Sculptor to make that really impressive Iron Man style helmet that we saw just a moment ago.
Yeah, so I want to take a look at that poll we have up here. I'm watching the chat. It's kind of exploding right now on some of the other channels. There's people really excited on LinkedIn. I should comment on Facebook. We had Shyam Sunder, he wants to join a CAD community. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. We have Brad
Indeed.
Sawyer, says he's a professional and a maker. He likes to create models for his 3D printer. So I think we have some really cool things in this offer for somebody like him. But if we go to the poll that we had on YouTube, right now we're at 60% of our viewers are professional engineers. But listen to this, Sean, 20% are makers and 20% are hobbyists. So 40% of our audience right now are who this offer is made for.
Awesome. Yeah, and even that first group, right, Jeremy? That's 60%. You know, that might be how you think of yourselves primarily, but then you might want to use some of the awesome things in this offer kind of on the side, right? So no, that is super cool to hear.
Yeah, and we have Jeff Setzer, says he's a multi-select. He's a professional who wants to use it also as a maker in the chat as well. So nice. There's a lot of exciting content. We're going to get through it. What about some other, you got any other examples of like maybe a hobbyist, maybe somebody uses SolidWorks in a different way than Brad does?
Yeah, for sure. So people use CAD for all different reasons, right? Especially today in the wide world of content or just trying to hone your skills. And, you know, me having a front row seat to that within the SolidWorks Champions program, you know, we have people from over 40 countries now in the Champions program, over 400 champions. And one of those champions is actually Rob Maldonado, and he fits this mold quite well. So Rob runs an Instagram channel that a lot of you are probably following today, honestly, called Virtual Flat CAD, where Rob's been ran for quite a long time, like hundreds of days. A challenge that he put himself up to called the CAD Model of the Day Challenge. And you know, this sort of maker offer and all that it entails is perfect for that sort of thing and so many other types of initiatives. And we actually have a word here from Rob to talk about it here.
All right, let's take a look.
Hello, my name is Rob, and I'm a maker and mechanical engineer. You may know me as that guy who creates 3D models every single day and posts them through the CAD Model of the Day project. I use SOLIDWORKS every day to solve my problems, explore engineering, and bring concepts to life from the textbook. And I believe it's overall the best tool to generate 3D CAD data for 3D printing, rendering, and motion simulations, just to name a few. Anyone who follows my live design streams on the Virtual Flat CAD YouTube channel knows how powerful this software is, and I am astonished that it's being offered along with XDesign and Xshape for about the same price as a streaming service. This makes me so excited because I can't wait for people to take advantage of this offer and start following along in all the fun. I can't wait to see what you come up with.
Rob is clearly just as excited as Brad is about this. If folks want to go see some of Rob's work, where can you mention it? He's on Instagram. Can you tell the folks at home where they can go tune in and see Rob's CAD Model a Day project that he's been working on?
Yeah, so if you just log into Instagram, you can use the web app or, more commonly the mobile app, and you just search Virtual Flat CAD. You'll see Rob's work right front and center. Crazy asset, you'll see Rob doing, just like he mentioned here, a lot of different mechanism designs to kind of inspire the community and give you different ideas for your next project, and some fun and cool stuff too, even just like things like cartoon characters. So Rob really kind of shows you a billion different ways that you could use CAD to inspire the community.
Well, that's great. I'm sure the question our audience has been waiting for here is, so what does this include? We said 3D Experience SolidWorks for makers, but this comes with more than just 3D Experience SolidWorks, right, Sean?
It does. So, to back up a bit, right? So for years, I mentioned earlier, for years, you and I have been in conversations with different users in the community saying like, SolidWorks really needs a package for makers, right? And maybe it would have been enough just to say, okay, here is SolidWorks 3D CAD for makers, right? But you could think of 3D Experience SolidWorks for makers, what we're offering today, almost as a bundle of some of SolidWorks' best design tools. So for starters, we have 3D Experience SolidWorks Professional, which brings all of the best sort of design tools that we've known and loved over the years from the SolidWorks 3D CAD side. So you think, solid modeling, surface modeling, sheet metal, weldments, all that stuff with SolidWorks connected to the 3D Experience platform on the cloud. So you can you have your dedicated design space right there on 3D Experience. And you can also use that, again, it's on the cloud, so you can collaborate potentially with other makers.
But Sean, 3D Experience SolidWorks is a little bit different than normal SolidWorks, right?
It is. It's a little bit different. So from the design end, you're going to see a ton of similarities, but like we'll see in a video in just a moment. It's connected to the 3D Experience Cloud. So that experience of saving and opening, you're saving to that sort of private, specialized storage space just for you. And it's connected to, again, other parts of the 3D Experience platform that can be proved to be pretty useful. But one of the coolest things about that, the fact that we're saving to the cloud, is you can use that if you want to. If let's say you got 3 copies or 4 copies, for example, of the maker offer, you could use that dynamic of saving to the cloud to collaborate with other makers really easily from that shared storage space.
All right. Why don't we take a quick deep dive into 3D Experience SolidWorks Professional and quickly show some of the differences, and we might touch on like what some of those are, because there's a lot more connected. There's a lot more that you can do to collaborate with other makers. So let's take a quick look at 3D Experience SolidWorks for makers.
With 3D Experience SolidWorks Professional, part of the brand new 3D Experience SolidWorks for Makers offer, you get a wide variety of industry-leading SolidWorks design tools. You can breathe easy knowing that your designs are securely saved in the cloud, and you can also connect to browser-based design tools. sharing your designs with fellow makers in custom-made communities. With 3D Experience SolidWorks for Makers, you'll get to experience the best CAD software on the planet and save big.
So Sean, Watchful Eyes may have noticed there's a little bit more integration there. You're actually connected to the communities we're going to talk about in a little bit. You'll have the ability to collaborate with other makers in real time. This is a really cool set of tools for all of our makers and hobbyists out there. But I think it's important to note, this isn't just SolidWorks, it's SolidWorks Professional, right?
Yeah, so you think about 3D Experience, it's a great point, right? So you think about 3D Experience SolidWorks Professional, and you know, there's the 3D Experience aspect, which we touched on a little bit, not even completely, right? But then on the SolidWorks Professional side, you think of things like SolidWorks Visualize. So SolidWorks Visualize Connected, right, is actually included in this as well. So the things that you know of if you use SolidWorks in the industry today, as part of being in that professional offer, a lot of that stuff is there, right? So again, Visualize, you think, for example, Scan to 3D, a lot of things that makers might find quite useful.
Yeah, I was looking at it. So on the SolidWorks website, CircuitWorks. So if anybody is doing any, like, sort of, they're doing PCB design and they want to bring that into SolidWorks, Professional comes with CircuitWorks. It comes with Toolbox as well in SolidWorks Professional. So I think those four things, like right there, like make this a perfect fit. You know, you mentioned Visualize, Scan to 3D is awesome for anybody doing scanning there. A couple things I want to jump to chat here. I just saw this. Where did it go? Mike Puckett said they actually just released a new certification for 3D Experience SolidWorks. So yeah, there's always a lot of chat about getting certified. So shout out to Mike Puckett and the certification team. They're on top of that right away. There's another question, and I'm going to spin this around. It comes from Ratna Kumar. Can anybody tell its limitations? Let's talk about, we're already talking about what does it actually come with beyond just regular SolidWorks. So a lot of our viewers just have SolidWorks. We've already said it's professional. It's connected to a worldwide platform of makers and other hobbyists that they can connect with. But let's talk about the two other roles that come along with this this offer.
Yeah, so even in the video that we just saw, Jeremy, there was a bit of interplay there that we teased, in advance of this little mini dialogue we have here. So that was actually a project done by a YouTuber that I work with quite frequently in the SolidWorks Influencer Program, named How to Mechatronics. So if you want to see that full video of how Dan from How to Mechatronics made that Mars rover, definitely check that out. But one of the things that we did see in that video is we saw a bit of 3D Creator. So 3D Creator, for those of you who don't know, it contains the XDesign app, which maybe you're more familiar with that terminology. But essentially, even if you're not familiar, right, 3D Creator gives us the power of a browser-based design tool that gives us that sort of that sketch-based parametric modeler, right? You sketch something, you extrude it, you can add holes, you can do revolves, a lot of the things that you might even be pretty familiar with, right, in core SolidWorks 3D CAD. But with it connected within this offer, it's one of the three, as we have listed out here, one of the three main CAD packages that you get in this overall bundle of 3D Experience SolidWorks for makers.
Yeah, I saw Mohan Raj on LinkedIn. He was really excited. He wrote X design and X shape. He was really excited about that. Yeah. We may have some people who don't really know what these tools are. Can we give them a quick preview of like what 3D Creator is actually going to allow them to do from a web browser on nearly any device? Yeah, right. So just like you mentioned there, Jeremy, that is one of the coolest things to me about 3D Creator with the XDesign app, right? You can use an iPad, you can use a MacBook, just like we saw in the previous video with some of that B-roll that was showing. You don't necessarily have to have an engineering laptop, and it's one of those apps, right? With it running on a web browser, that it's more or less plug and play, right? You go into the 3D Experience platform, you log in, you click XDesign, you can start designing
kind of right then and there. Again, with those sketch-based features, those extrudes, those cuts, to make a lot of cool things from a maker perspective.
Well, let's dive in and let's take a quick look at 3D Creator and this this really cool foosball table here.
With 3D Creator, part of the brand new 3D Experience SOLIDWORKS for Makers offer, you get the precision you need with parametric modeling tools. You can seamlessly switch between 3D Creator and the sub-D modeling capabilities of 3D Sculptor with just one keystroke. You can also import and export models directly into 3D Experience SOLIDWORKS. With 3D Experience SOLIDWORKS for Makers, you'll get to experience the best CAD software on the planet and save big.
Set of tools for people who are on the go. They don't know when they're going to have that great idea and they just want to kick up a web browser and start working on a design. That's the essence of makers and hobbyists, right? They're sitting there, maybe they're on a subway or on a train, or I don't know where they are. They're in a coffee shop. I mean, I'm probably thinking a little pre everything in the last 18 months, but they're wherever they might be, and an idea comes to them. Well, think about it. I can pull up my iPad, I can go to my browser, and I can just start designing, right?
Yeah, that's so true, right? And in this sort of shared space on the 3D Experience platform, even for example, if you wanted to see like a work plan, or if you wanted to see like your cut list, for example, if you're doing some woodworking, right? And let's say you wanted to take that over on an iPad, right? 3D SOLIDWORKS won't run on the iPad, but if you save out, say, a PDF or even just the drawing file, you can actually view that on the iPad as you're working. So all these things, all these different packages being so connected, like you said, Jeremy, I thought it was a great point with the way people like to work and the way they like to build. I think this is going to be really useful for a lot of people.
Now, at the end of that video, designing this foosball table, we started to see the little, what do you call them, the kickers on a foosball table? We saw some like crazy modeling going on there. And that kind of brings us to the third role that's coming with this, 3D Sculptor. So we're really giving everything with this, right?
Yeah, make no mistake about it, right? So this 3D Experience SOLIDWORKS for Makers, let's consider it a true bundle, right? And when I said, SOLIDWORKS is some of SOLIDWORKS' best design tools, it comes with all three of these, right? In every sense, right? So 3D Sculptor, like you were kind of getting at there. Think of it, if you've never seen 3D Sculptor before, you saw a little bit of it in the 3D Creator kind of preview there with some of the interoperability between the apps, but think of it as sculpting digital clay, right? So I put in a primitive, right? I put in like a blob of clay, like it's a cube or it's a cone shape. And then I'm pushing and pulling it to make whatever I'd like to make to my heart's desire. And when we think, Jeremy, right, about the amount of people that just have 3D printers in their houses now, things have just changed so much. And the ability to just spit out an STL file or some sort of manufacturing format and be able to print almost with exact precision, the thing that you push and pull on the screen, it's pretty impressive, and it's going to unlock a lot of doors for a lot of people.
Yeah. So I'm guessing we might, well, first of all, I want to answer some questions from chat. Sorry, there's a lot of chat going on. And I'm figuring out
for
when
sure.
to
Let's
ask the
check it
right
out.
questions. So one of the questions that we had on LinkedIn from Christopher Bogart was, does this come with SolidWorks Professional? Yes, it does. It comes with 3D Experience SolidWorks Professional. Just it's the same SolidWorks you know and love. It's just connected to the 3D Experience platform. I'm going to ask you a question, Sean. Maybe you don't know the answer to this. I think I kind of do. Muradi Husam on LinkedIn asks, I use a lot of third-party add-ins on the SolidWorks desktop software. Do add-ins still work? Oh, sorry, he asked with X Design. I thought he asked for 3D Experience SolidWorks. On X Design, currently the add-ins you use in SolidWorks Desktop aren't going to work with X Design. But I think that's a good question. If I use third-party tools with 3D Experience SolidWorks Professional, what's that interaction going to be like?
Yeah, so for example, so this Maker Edition is special. It's particular for personal projects, for hobbyist projects, for again maker projects. Again, think of if I'm remodeling my kitchen, or if I'm making like Brad does, like a helmet for fun. So those production level third-party add-ins, they won't run directly inside of 3D Experience SolidWorks Professional. But the good news is, again, we have tons of stuff baked in there. To where from a maker sense, you can do almost anything you need to do.
All right, very cool. Well, I didn't want to get sidetracked. We were talking about 3D Sculptor. There may be some folks out there watching right now. They've never seen 3D Sculptor. I want to tell us a little bit about this project we're going to look at though, because this is really cool.
Yeah, so curious to see anyone in the chat like the Hacksmith? You know, definitely send us a message if you've ever even seen a video from the Hacksmith. I'm sure you have. They have about, I think, like 13 million subscribers, just some crazy number these days. But you know, you're gonna see some B-roll of a self-lacing shoe that they made, which was pretty amazing. But you'll see, you know, with using 3D Sculptor, if you were to make something like a sole of a shoe, as compared to using a parametric design tool, for example, where you're just like, you know, trying to mash in a bunch of sketches and trying to piece things together face by face with exact dimensions and everything. 3D Sculptor is just easier to use, right? So it really, when you look at 3D Creator, when you look at 3D Experience SolidWorks Professional, their core, their bread and butter is making, you know, this sort of rules-based and exacting sort of geometry from the get-go. Like, you know what you're going to do, but if you want to unleash your creativity and, again, push and pull your way into exactly the type of object or creation that you want at the end, this is a great tool to be used on its own, quite frankly, or to be used with either of the other two CAD packages that are included in the offer.
And that's what's really cool. I think we're going to actually see some design in 3D Sculptor, and then we're going to see some app switching going to 3D Creator to do some of the work. Let's just dive in and take a look. Let's take a look at 3D Sculptor.
With 3D Sculptor, part of the brand new 3D Experience SolidWorks for Makers offer, you get to mold digital clay to create organic shapes and surfaces with powerful and fun sub-D modeling tools. You can use images and sketches as templates for designs, and import and export directly into 3D Experience SolidWorks. You can also switch between the parametric modeling tools in 3D Creator with the push of a button. With 3D Experience SolidWorks for Makers, you'll get to experience the best CAD software on the planet and save big.
Sean, there's something unbelievably satisfying about watching those laces actually tighten at the end of that video.
If you watch, so if you go into the Hacksmiths, if you've never seen the video, I definitely recommend it. If you go and check that out, the funny thing is about that video on the Hacksmiths channel is that The premise of it anyway was that they accused James of not knowing how to tie his shoes. So on the hacksmith, usually in regular life, you just kind of take someone aside if they get to that point in their lives, and you just say, "Hey, I'm going to try to teach you how to tie your shoes. You're going to love it." But it's when you work on the Hacksmith channel, that's how you problem solve in that area.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about a famous movie from the '80s that probably, with the self-lacing Nike or that other brand of shoes. So.
Yeah, that's what it's actually based on.
Yeah.
Yep. So, but it becomes to life in real life when you work on the Hacksmith.
So I see in the chat on YouTube, Francisco Fernandez, he follows the Hacksmith here. Quick looking at the question over here. Matthew Leonard on LinkedIn, he seems pretty excited that it's coming with Toolbox right there. And then Bella Shabila on LinkedIn says 3D Experience allows you to access, share, and manage your product information at any time. Yeah, absolutely, on any device. That's what's really cool about it. It's a really cool way to collaborate with other users. I saw somebody over on YouTube earlier, I think it was Board, said that their entire company is actually switching over to 3D Experience SolidWorks because they have to work remotely and they needed a better way for everybody to be able to collaborate from this remote work environment they're in. So this is a great tool to, again, these are all great tools to work with people anywhere around the world.
It's a really great point. So when we talk about 3D Experience SolidWorks for makers, and we say, which is true, right? It's like we're taking some of the best design tools that we have here at SolidWorks and offering it to makers and people that are doing personal projects for this crazy low price. These are actually it's the same design software that's available for commercial and industry use cases too. Yeah. Again, this is specific for those sort of maker personal style projects. But like one of our viewers mentioned, if you are in an industry use case and you want to sort of be able to leverage this technology in more of an industry style way, let's say you're working in industrial machinery or electronics design, we actually have packages for more commercial context too.
Yeah, absolutely. Sean, one of the things you've kind of mentioned, we've talked about this collaborating. Well, a lot of these makers, these hobbyists, they're going to need a space where they can kind of go collaborate with one another. What about that? Are we doing anything to like bring them together in a common unified location?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question, right? So with the 3D Experience platform, one of the things that we try to do is we try to, address everything, right? And one of those areas is that sort of community aspect, that communication aspect. And when we came up with the idea for 3D Experience SolidWorks for makers, we didn't want to just, it might have been enough, right, to just say we're releasing this amazing, never before seen on the market bundle for this crazy price, right? But we also wanted to acknowledge the aspect of the maker community where they want to build community, right? And so we actually made this Made in 3D community that you can go to right now on solidworks.com/made-in-3D on the 3D Experience platform, where think of all the things you'd love to do with a global community of makers. Whether that's asking questions. How would you make this cut? Or what kind of 3D printer do you use? Those sorts of things, or even just showing off some of your favorite and your proudest creations. All of those sorts of things in terms of making connections with people all around the world. Those are things that we kind of purpose built the Made in 3D community to do, and you can access that today.
Right.
Even for free, right? Even if you haven't purchased the maker offer, it's open to anyone to start to go in there, sign in, and start engaging.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's really cool about this. You don't even have to be a customer to get involved with other makers around the world. But we actually want to get everybody involved. So Sean, last night you created a post on the on the Made in 3D community, right?
Right. So it's funny. You can tell this is a screenshot, right? Because it's just us. It's just the two of us. And it's so funny because I thought, I was mentioning this to you off air. I thought that like this was going to be the first time it would just have that one reply. But we already have like a ton of different comments of people just like sharing their creations. So
look at this. This is great. This is live here. So we had the screenshot we did preparing for the show last night. But like, let's just look at this. Ivan Lowen over here. Look at this. He did some a wood and leather magazine rack. So here's his design, and this is awesome. Here's some images of him actually building this as he goes through here. This is really, really cool stuff. Other examples, Brian Zayas. He's actually, they did some remodeling of their basement. So they did the work here inside of SolidWorks.
That's cool.
But then again, look, the real pictures, the finished product. This is what's cool to see, is not just the creativity of the design, it's the real projects here.
And look at that, Jeremy, real quick, just back to Brian's thing. Even if you look in on the CAD file, the screenshot, yeah, I could see I saw that. And then you can see in the SolidWorks, so this is really cool, right? Most of you are probably using SolidWorks or have used SolidWorks a billion different times, but even if you haven't, you can see on the CAD end, if we just kind of go back to that image, just one back, so there's a cool floor plan.
This one right here.
Yeah, so look, like he even puts the wallpaper on there. So if you really want to see like the real picture of what your room's going to look like before you have it come together, you can even use the decals to have the wallpaper show up in 3D.
This was a really cool project. This is Ahmed. I'm gonna get the last name wrong, so I'm just gonna stop there. But I think this is really cool. This smart disabled chair right here. This is a really cool project right here, where they're designing a chair to help people with challenging disabilities right here. I think this is a really cool project.
It just shows, right? So we go from Brian, who's doing something that a lot of us have done, right? I remember last thing I did like this was I kind of just put furniture out, kind of aligned furniture about a deck that we were building. So that's a typical one, like home redesign, DIY type stuff. And then we see, like, on a totally different end of the spectrum there, a device like this, like both really useful use cases for the Maker Edition, but just in totally different worlds, which is awesome to see.
So we want to do a call to action here. Sorry, I got to jump around. I got to get our show back on track here. I just lost my cursor. There it is. So here's our challenge. We want you, the audience, after this show, to go to solidworks.com/made-in-3D. You can do it now if you want, but we don't want you to leave us, because
don't leave.
people want to know how do I get this and how much does it cost? And we're going to get to that in just a second. Go to solidworks.com/made-in-3D after the show. That post will be pinned for the next 24 hours at the top of that community page. Comment, share some images of what you've done in SolidWorks and some of your projects. Go through the community, comment on other people's posts, like their posts, get engaged in that conversation. Do they have to have a separate login for any of this, Sean?
No, it's the same. So, if you use your 3DEXPERIENCE ID, and today, let's say you're using the SolidWorks user forum, it's the same sign in. SolidWorks ID, it's the same sign in. And if for whatever reason you haven't created one of those yet, you just create one. It's quick and easy, it's free, and you can start engaging right away. And Jeremy, it's, as far as the Made in 3D community, again, I just want to stress, anyone can go on and use that right now. There's this other community that you have labeled here, Makers Support, which also has this convenient URL. Right, it's like a lot of times, and we all know this, right? Even outside the world of SolidWorks, when you get a software package, you kind of want to know, even if you never utilize it, that you have some sort of backbone of support that you can lean on, that you can go and ask questions of. If you're not quite getting something in terms of how to use something or what it's for, if you're having issues, whatever it is, we specifically for purchasers of 3DEXPERIENCE SolidWorks for Makers, we actually have this built-in support community that you can use that will get answers from members of the SolidWorks team or members of the fellow members of the community. So wanted to give that a shout out as well.
Yeah, I think this is really cool, this screenshot. Unfortunately, it's behind the other one. This was an example of somebody had a question about parts and assemblies, and members of the community quickly jumped on, started helping her with what her question was right there. New to SolidWorks, learning these tools. The thing you'll find is the SolidWorks community really wants to empower other users to be the best they can with this. I actually see this here on LinkedIn right now. Aang Kadiana, I think is learning SolidWorks now and want to share my designs as well. I think that's awesome. That's
Awesome.
the right first step to be taking there.
Yeah, and we've all been there, right? Whether you're a CSWA or a CSWE, right? You know, there's always that sort of first step, and share your journey with other people, right? That's one of the most empowering things you can do.
Yep. So again, we're going to throw those URLs up on the screen, jot those down. We'll be sure to go back and add those in the comments to this show after the fact. So it's solidworks.com/made-in-3D. Anybody can participate in that community. They can get involved, share your ideas and designs, or get involved in other people's. And then once you get SolidWorks, 3D Experience SolidWorks for Makers, this is going to be a great place for you to go to get the support you're looking for as you're getting up and started. So, okay, here's the big question, Sean. Where and when can I get it, and how much is this going to cost? This has been the question we've been kind of dodging around all during this whole episode.
It's funny, Brad and Rob tried to steal the spotlight. You know, wanted to make the big announcement at the end, but no, it's funny. If you guys had a really keen eye, you probably saw this already. But today you can go, just like Jeremy's showing here. Today you can go to solidworks.com/maker, and you can get 3D Experience SolidWorks for Makers, all that it entails, right? The 3D Experience SolidWorks Professional, 3D Creator, 3D Sculptor, all bundled for $99 a year.
What?
So yeah, no, it's
$99 a year.
The decimal place is in the right position, I promise. Yeah, so if you go there, you can get it. Yeah, $99 a year.
I'm pretty sure my Amazon subscription for the year just went higher than that this past year.
Yeah, right. And it's Rob again stealing the spotlight. He had the line of the day, right? It's getting all these crazy tools for about the same price as a streaming service. Like there's no better way to describe it. So yeah, check out that page. And even if you're still not convinced somehow that it's like, oh, I want this. If you just like you see here on the screen, you know, the blue buttons will guide you through the way. And just to tell you, it's an e-commerce style process. So basically, when you click buy now, you put in your payment information and you can get it kind of right then and there. But even if you're not quite ready, but you wanted to review some materials in terms of like an FAQ style, like, okay, who exactly is this for? I just want to make sure I'm right on that. You know, what exactly is included, or even just reviewing some of the videos that we showed today. You know, link to the Made in 3D community, all that stuff is centrally kind of right there on solidworks.com/maker.
Yeah, so if you go to this website, I've got it up here. We can take a quick look at it. You'll see this blue button everywhere. It's really easy to buy it now. Like you said, it's e-commerce. We've made this really easy. You can see all these cool stories we shared today. You can find quick access to the communities we were just talking about here, the Made in 3D and the Maker Support community. Everything you need is going to be right here, really easy to find. So there's a question that came up, Sean. I really quickly want to cover this because some users are used to, they buy something and then they like have to download and install the software on their computer. So they'll do the buy it now. You're going to get an email that'll explain this, but I quickly want to go over this because the platform's a little bit different where you download it from, right?
Yeah, it is a bit different. So yeah, I guess if you want to pivot over, so clicking on that compass logo in the top left when you sign into your platform area, just like you have here, Jeremy. Jeremy, you actually put it in your favorite apps, like all of the sort of core CAD packages.
So I have a lot more apps working here. I'm not gonna they'll just see those apps there. But what you can do is you can drag your favorite apps up here. You can also search for an app up here as well. But oops, I just closed it. You can actually just install SolidWorks Connected right from here. You just go into the compass. Here you can also launch XDesign, XShape. You'll have some of these dashboards which have like your communities on them. XDesign will already be added to that dashboard so you can start designing right away. But it's like the first question we get, where do I install it? They're expecting like a link to download SolidWorks, and you go onto the platform and just download it from there.
It's a great way to think of it too. It's like it's like look for under the My Apps list when you're on your platform space after you purchase it. Just look for the thing you've seen a billion times, the big red cube. And if you find that it's alphabetized, And then just like you said, Jeremy, almost think of it as a link. It's a link to start installing it. And once it's installed, you can also click that same icon in the same area to launch the software too. So if you click that, it'll launch the download of the installer. It'll expressly just kind of go through and install. But the cool thing is with the other two, right? XDesign, which is kind of part of 3D Creator, and then XShape, which is part of 3D Sculptor. Those two, you just click them and start. Whether that's on whether that's on your iPad or your Windows PC, wherever you are, you just click them and it pops out, and you're ready to go.
Yeah. So hold on. Never mind. All right. Let me close that. Let's go back over here really quick. All right. Well, Sean, this has been a really, really, really cool announcement today. I want to thank you so much. I know our audience has been waiting for this announcement since it was first kind of teased at 3D Experience World this past year virtually. We've shared a lot of URLs. We're going to go back. We'll put those in the comments section below. Solidworks.com/maker is the best place where you can go to learn everything you want to about this. You mentioned it, Sean. There's an FAQ on that page that talks about what's different about 3D Experience SolidWorks for makers versus SolidWorks and everything else you need to know. This is a great offer for our makers out there. I want to thank you so much for joining us here today and for all the amazing content from all the cool makers you shared.
Yeah, it was, I mean, for so many reasons, it's really cool to be here with everyone, Jeremy. So thank you for inviting me on. But just the amount of, data sets and the amount of stories that we were able to share from all ends of the community in these videos. And then to see, so many great questions coming in the chat. And hopefully, if you go to solidworks.com/made-in-3D, even more of your models in the comments of that post. It's just been a privilege, so thank you.
All right. Well, Sean, thanks again. We're not done. Today we are, but we have more content coming up. If you've been tuning into us on YouTube, you know that every single Thursday we have some sort of streaming content for you to tune into at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Next week is Live Design, where I'm going to be presenting. Wait a minute. I'm going to be presenting. I'm going to be showing how to use part and assembly patterns to model a timing chain for this engine design. And then I'm going to have a host. So this is more of a sit and design where you can come join us on YouTube and ask questions as we're going along. So you don't want to miss these. And then about a month from now, we have a really cool SolidWorks Live coming to you. The release of SolidWorks 2022, September 16th. This is something everybody waits for every year.
Favorite time of year.
Really exciting. We want to make sure you don't miss any one of these episodes. So if you're joining us on YouTube specifically, make sure you go through. You hit that subscribe button and click that bell notification icon. That way you get notified and reminded whenever we go live and we have some of this great content to share with you. I want to personally thank everybody for joining us here today. This was an extremely exciting announcement to make. I want to thank my guest, Sean. I want to thank everybody for helping in the back end, Mike and Sarah for moderating the chat. And until next Thursday, we'll see you then.
Thanks, everyone.